بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد ولله الأسماء الحسنى فادعوه بها وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إن لله تعالى 99 اسما من حفظها دخل الجنة. So alhamdulillah, today we look at the name al-Qabid. Ya Qabid. Comes from the word qabada, which essentially means to, has multiple meanings. It means to take possession. That's one meaning of qabada, qabid, to take possession. It also means to withhold something, to take ownership of something, to withhold something, to take possession of something. That's the meaning. So Qabid means the withholder in a sense. So why would you call out to Qabid for? When would there be a need to call out to Ya Qabid, specifically with that name? So one of the reasons would be financial struggle, because subsistence, rizq, is being withheld. There seems to be a blockage, feeling overwhelmed by debts, financial constraints. Life is becoming tough. There seems to be a qabd, there seems to be contraction. Qabd can also refer to contraction. The one who contracts things, who withholds and who reduces and who diminishes and who limits. So Ya Qabid, don't limit it, as opposed to limit it for us. One might invoke Ya Qabid to seek Allah's assistance in managing their finances and preventing wasteful expenditure. So that's where it'll be working in the other meaning. Ya Allah, I've got a hole in my hand. I can't keep anything. I just have to spend it. Different people have different things, and unless they're spending in the good, with full reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people usually struggle afterwards. People who can't manage their finances. There's some people, they like to empty their salary every month. I have literally come across people like that. I don't like keeping any money. And that's understandable if it was done with a tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fi sabilillah, in the right way, then Allah will look after you. Right? But if it's just that I need to spend, I'll buy expensive gifts, I'll buy expensive things for myself, even though I don't need them, that's really an issue. If somebody has a spending issue, then Ya Qabid would work in the other meaning of withholder. Oh, allow me to withhold and be careful. Humans, while it is for the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the highest ranking people to just completely put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and literally continue their life without anything. And if they're literally happy with bread and oil, or just bread and water, that's fine. Most people can't do that. We had a student once from another country who lived in London while he was studying the iftar course with us. For every lunch, I don't know what he had for supper, but for every lunch, all he had was bread and olive oil. Every single day. Bread and olive oil, that's all he had, right? Olive oil was a luxury, I guess, right? Because there's been scholars who've had bread and water, right? So that's fine. Number 2, career and promotion. In a professional scenario, if someone feels that they are being overlooked, there's a qabd, there's a contraction, there's a limitation. There seems to be obstacles in their way. So, little understanding of obstacles in your way. You feel that there's just too many obstacles, there's too many things going on, there's too many hindrances. So they may invoke Ya Qabid to withhold others from taking unjust advantage and to pave the way for their own deserved position or recognition. Guarding against temptations, that's another one. When tempted to engage in sinful acts, or when surrounded by negative influences, Ya Qabid, prevent me from getting into that. Withhold me, hold me back from that. so that we don't fall into a trap of temptations. Number 4, preserving health. If somebody feels their health is deteriorating or worried about potential illnesses, a lot of people are worried today because there's some really strange sicknesses out there today. They might supplicate using Ya Qabid to withhold any illnesses or health challenges. Relationship struggles, especially one feels that their emotions or reactions might exasperate a situation. They can't control their emotions. They are struggling with emotions. They're getting teary all the time. They're overthinking matters. They're concerned about what hasn't taken place. They're just paranoid about various consequences that may never take place. Even the first stage of that hasn't taken place and they're worried about 10 stages down. Overthinking the matter. Ya Qabid, Ya Qabid. To help. So how does Qabid relate to that? To withhold and to limit and to bring back negative feelings, to set back negative feelings and promote patience. During fasting, Ya Allah, during fasting, when the urge to break the fast prematurely arises, Ya Qabid, allow me to withhold myself. Invoke Ya Qabid for the strength in withholding from food and drink until appropriate time. Likewise, when in business, one is not making wise judgments, maybe overexpending or making hasty investments, Ya Qabid, to help making judgments. There's some people who are just naturally early adopters. Anything they see as interesting, they'll just jump into it without giving a good thought about it. They get caught out in a lot of scams and other things. And then there's some people who think and never get to make a decision and they get left behind. Right? So, Allah Ta'ala help us to withhold at the right time. Protection from harm. When fearing harm from an individual or a group, invoke Ya Qabid, Ya Qabid, to ask Allah to withhold those intending harm from acting upon their intention. So now we understand that you can use the Qabid for ourselves, to withhold somebody else from doing wrong. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very comprehensive in that regard. Preserving one's tongue. If one is prone to speaking without thought or fears, they might say something harmful. They can call upon Allah. So you know that when you meet a certain person, you end up in a conflict. You end up with some abrasive discussion, right? You end up with some kind of discord or it just doesn't always go well. So Ya Qabid, beforehand. Ya Qabid, beforehand. So one fears that they may see something harmful or call upon Allah subhanahu. So call upon Ya Qabid from uttering what is detrimental. Spiritual growth. On a journey of spiritual growth, one fears backsliding into previous sins. We take one step, go back 2 steps sometimes. Or, mashallah, Ramadan, we took 10 steps, but after Ramadan, it started retrogressing. So we're trying our best, and we're backsliding previous sins or habits, invoking al-Qabid, Ya Qabid, Ya Qabid, to seek Allah's help in withholding from reverting to past behaviors. I think thinking more outside the box in that sense, if somebody feels that they may release something, Ya Qabid, assist me in withholding. Let me not release this information. I can't help it. Some people just can't help speaking too much and revealing too many things. Ya Qabid. It could also be, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, but if a person is in a desperate situation where they can't find somewhere to relieve themselves, then why wouldn't that work? Or withholder, help me withhold and help me restrain myself so that I don't make a mess somewhere else. Would that be an issue? Would that be an issue to use the name? To call out to Allah? What else are you going to call out to? Can't do anything else. So that was Ya Qabid, Ya Qabid.
With the Rayyan Courses subscription, you'll gain immediate access to over 250 hours of exclusive video lessons taught by experienced scholars. Sign up now at rayyancourses.com to continue your journey. Your next lesson is waiting.